Have you guys ever had an idea about something and you literally cannot do anything else until you do this idea that you have in your head because you're hyper fixating on it and you can't stop thinking about it? That's me right now. And I'm throwing all my TBR out the window for this one, and I'm throwing my book buying ban out the window right now because I might have to buy more books for this video, but I might just get them on my Kindle. I'm not really sure. This video is going to be giving authors I didn't really like another chance. So this is like nothing against the authors that wrote these books. I just didn't know what else to call the video. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the books that I didn't like. Okay, so I have 3 books here that I didn't really like, and I'm gonna go through kind of just a really brief reason why I didn't like them. All these books that I'm about to show you are in videos that I've done, and I will link those down below. But the first book that I remember not really enjoying is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And let me explain kind of like why I didn't like this book. I read this very early into my booktube book journey or whatever, and I spilled water on it, but we're not going to talk about that. I got this book at Target because I thought it sounded very intriguing, and I know this book is now a movie, but I know that Taylor Jenkins Reid is also like the author of Daisy Jones and the Six and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which are very, very popular book talk books that I have not read yet because I don't really want to. But before I get to that, I'm going to explain why I didn't really like this book. Don't get me wrong, I think it might have been because it took me forever to finish this book, but I feel like that's a good reason. I took forever to finish this book, and I feel like it was because I wasn't really that into it. For me, it was kind of slow. I don't know how anyone else feels, but I mean, the ending was like fine. I don't know. Things in this book kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and it just felt really slow paced, and the writing wasn't, I don't know. I just feel like it could have grabbed my attention more, and it just didn't. I think I rated this book like a 3 or a 2.5, I'm not really sure, but that kind of has turned me off from this author, and I'm honestly not really interested in reading her other books at all. Like, I feel like I don't really want to read Daisy Jones and the Six, or Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, or Carrie Soto Is Back, because I think I might be judging them. I feel like they're not going to be that interesting to me because I am so much of a romance and like now romantic-y reader. So if there's no romance, I'm going to be like disappointed, and I just don't know what they're about. I haven't really read about it. So I don't know. I'm judging them. I'm honest. I'm judging them. It is what it is, okay? And the next author that I am going to be giving another chance in this video is Riley Sager, because I read The House Across the Lake by him, and I did not really like it. And I was very excited to read this book because I first started getting into thrillers. I have a reading thrillers for a week video, and that's like the first time I ever read thrillers. I loved The Silent Patient, and I loved The Housemaid. But this book, I was kind of disappointed in. I mean, the beginning of it, it was interesting at first, but then it got to this point at the end where it just didn't make sense to me. And I think I went into this book thinking it was going to be like a regular true crime and like catching who did the crime or whatever. But I didn't know that going into this book, it was going to have this paranormal aspect to it. And I think that's kind of what turned me off from this book, and that's why I didn't like it. I just wanted it to make sense, and I wanted it to be realistic, and it just wasn't that for me. I know some people like this book, but there's some people that also agree with me on like the ending is kind of like weird. And I thought it was weird. So that's why I think I also gave this maybe a 2 or a 3. I don't really remember what I put on my Goodreads. But yeah, so since then, I didn't really want to read any more of Riley Sager's thrillers because I'm worried they're all going to end the same way. They're all going to be similar, and I don't really like that. So that's why I decided not to pick up any more of his books. So I'm going to be choosing a different one, I guess, and we'll see which one I choose. But the last author that I did not really enjoy was Josie Silver, One Day in December. I did not like this book. I went on a full-on rant about this book. I read Christmas books for a week, and I read this, and I was just not happy with it. Like, at first it was like cute because the concept is like she sees this guy at like the bus stop, and they kind of like lock eyes, and it's kind of like a love at first sight kind of thing. That's what it seems like. And then we learn later on that the guy that she's been searching for like a year, she saw this guy one time and she's searching him for like a year. and the guy ends up being her best friend's like boyfriend. So she's kind of like interested in him like the whole time. Her best friend's dating him, and then you go on, this tells the story like, I think it's like 10 years or something like that. So it takes them 10 years to figure out what they want, basically. But throughout the book, in my opinion, they're kind of emotionally cheating on people that they're with because they keep thinking about each other in more ways than just liking them. It's also like lustful, and I just thought I just didn't like it. I just didn't like that, and it felt icky. I just didn't like that. So that's just me. So ever since then, I didn't really want to read another one of her books, and kind of been turned off from her books because of that. So yeah, and I'm sure she has other great books, and don't get me wrong, like all these people, like I could never write a book. So like I would love to write a book, but I can't. So I'm really proud of these authors for writing such amazing books, and I know a lot of people love their books. I know people like these books, but for me, I just didn't enjoy them. Nothing against the author, just personal opinion. I didn't like them. With that, I'm going to be doing some research right now, and I'm going to be looking at Goodreads and seeing what books are popular by these authors and picking out different ones to read. I may go ahead and order them off Amazon, or I may just order them on my Kindle because, to be honest, I'm not sure if I want to own any physical copies. Sounds good. Okay. I have no curtains on my window because my cat climbed up them and broke the thing that holds the curtains. So currently I don't have curtains. If you were wondering why you can see my reflection, I hate it too. Okay, so first I'm gonna look up Riley Sager's books and figure out which books are popular. And I'm gonna just choose the most popular book that he has right now. If his most popular book is The House Across the Lake, then I'm just going to do the one below that, so. Okay, so it does look like the only one left by Riley Sager is the most popular book of his, and it has a 4.15 average rating, which is really, really good. So I'm really hoping that I'll really enjoy this. Okay, so now I'm going to look up Josie Silver's books and see which one is the most popular by her. Funny enough, her highest rated book is One Day in December. So we'll see, and let's see. So One Night on the Island and The Two Lives of Lydia Bird are the same rating, but The Two Lives of Lydia Bird has more ratings, so I'm going to go with that. It's a 3.75 average rating with 66,000 ratings versus the other one, One Night on the Island, has 39,000 ratings. So I'm gonna go with The Two Lives of Lydia Bird for that one, which I'm excited. I love the name Lydia so much. It is so cute. And last but not least, One True Loves. I have a feeling it's gonna be Daisy Jones and the Six or The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I think it's gonna be The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but we'll see. Yep, it is going to be The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So this book has a 4.42 average rating on Goodreads and almost 3 million ratings. And if you were curious, Daisy Jones and the Six is not far behind. Well, it actually is a little far behind. It's a 4.21 average rating, but this one has about 1,400,000, almost 1,500, almost 1,500,000 ratings. 1,500,000 ratings. 1.5 million. I could have just said that. It would have been a lot easier. So it looks like I'm going to be reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. What is on Amazon? I would just like to read more on my Kindle, so I want to see if any of these are Kindle Unlimited, which I almost doubt it. So the only one left by Riley Sager, it looks like it is going to be $9.74 on the Kindle. So that might be a better option because it is $16 hardcover versus $9 for the Kindle. So I might go with the Kindle on that one. Okay, the paperback is $10. The Kindle is $9.74. I'm just going to buy The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So I'm going to add that to my cart right now. Lastly, what is it? The Two Lives of Lydia Bird? Okay. Ooh, on Kindle, it is 74 cents. So we're going to have one physical book, which I get worried sometimes that seeing people read just a Kindle is boring, so I really hope it's not. But I don't have a lot of money right now, so I would much rather save as much as I can. So I'm gonna go ahead and get The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It'll be here on Tuesday, which is perfect because I'm off that day and maybe I can read it. But I'm probably gonna definitely get to these tomorrow, and I am gonna go ahead and get these on my Kindle. So I am really actually kind of excited. but I am scared of the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Hello, it is the same night, literally. First off, I just finished A Court of Mr. Fury, and I'm like, that was a lot. It was a lot went on in that book at the end. That was crazy. I wanted to try to figure out what book I wanted to read next. The Only One Left by Riley Sager or The Two Lives of Lydia Bird. So I was gonna look up the plots for both books. At 17, Lenora Hope hung her sister with a rope, stabbed her father with a knife, took her mother's happy life. It wasn't me, Lenora said, but she's the only one not dead. Okay. The Hope family murder shocked the Maine coast one bloody night in 1929. While most people assumed the 17-year-old Lenora was responsible, the police were never able to prove it. Other than her denial after the killings, she has never spoken publicly about that night, nor has she stepped foot outside Hope's End, the cliffside mansion where the massacre occurred. It's now 1983, and her home health aide Kit McDeer arrives at a decaying Hope's End to care for Lenora after her previous nurse fled in the middle of the night. In her 70s and confined to a wheelchair, Lenora was rendered mute by a series of strokes and can only communicate with Kit by tapping out sentences on an old typewriter. One night, Lenora uses it to make a tantalizing offer. Quote, I want to tell you everything. As Kit helps Lenora write about the events leading to the Hope family massacre, it becomes clear there's more to the tale than people know. But when new details about her predecessor's departure come to light, Kit starts to suspect Lenora might not be telling the complete truth, and that the seemingly harmless woman in her care could be far dangerous than she first thought. Okay. Now I'm going to look up The Two Lives of Lydia Bird. Lydia and Freddie, Freddie and Lydia. That sounds familiar. Literally the back of people we meet on vacation says Poppy and Alex, Alex and Poppy. Freddie and Lydia, they'd been together for more than a decade, and Lydia thought their love was indestructible, but she was wrong. On her 28th birthday, Freddie died in a car accident, so now it's just Lydia, and all she wants to do is hide indoors and sob until her eyes fall out. But Lydia knows that Freddie would want her to try to live a fully happily even without him. So enlisting the help of his best friend Jonah and her sister Elle, she takes her first tentative steps into the world, open to life, and perhaps even love again. But then something inexplicable happens that gives her another chance at her old life with Freddie, a life where none of the tragic events of the past few months have happened. Lydia is pulled again and again across the doorway of her past, living two lives impossibly at once. But there's an emotional toll to returning to a world where Freddie, alive, still owns her heart. But there's someone in her new life, her real life, who wants her to stay. Interesting. I don't know what to read first. I think I may go with The Only One Left by Riley Sager because I haven't read a thriller in a while. And I am curious about that one. And I love some true crime. So I'm going to start that before I go to bed. So last night I started The Only One Left by Riley Sager. And I got to chapter 4. Not too far into it, but enough to give kind of like my first take on it. So far, it's giving me Housemaid and Silent Patient vibes, only because the main person, I forget her name already, the girl is mute, and then the girl that's going there to take care of her to be like this, she's not being a maid, she's being kind of like a nurse or something. I don't really know. Anyway, I feel like I already have a theory, and I know it sounds crazy, but I do feel like I have a theory already. And my theory, it's either going to be very similar to The House Across the Lake. I mean, I hope that it's not like The House Across the Lake with those kind of vibes, but I'm honestly not too sure. It's like our main character, Kit. She is sent from her work. Her work tells her she needs to go take care of this new patient named Lenora, and all the town knows who Lenora is because she was the last one left of that family that all died or whatever. And so she's being sent there, and she kind of doesn't want to be sent there, but she needs a job, and she's having a hard time getting a job because something happened in Kit's life and people don't trust her. I'm not sure if she did some kind of crime. I'm not sure if her family did some kind of crime. I'm not really sure what's going on there. One of the chapters said something so weird. Okay, this is literally chapter 2. This is not a big spoiler, but it is weird. It says, Mr. Gerlain chose me because Lenore Hope is the one patient nobody, not even the police, will mind if I kill. what does that even mean? Maybe it's something like off the cuff, like, oh, if I accidentally killed her, they won't even care. Or is it like, they won't mind if I kill her? So far, we learn that Kit is like 32, 31, and she still lives with her dad, but her dad like doesn't care about her. He kind of is like, don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. You know, he doesn't care that she's going. And the whole thing with Lenora, I feel like I'm going back and forth, but the whole like thing with Lenora and that job is that she has to like live with Lenora. But yeah, I'm going to read a little bit more of this before I go to bed. But so far, it's kind of interesting, and I'm just really hoping it's gonna have a different ending. Lenora is not at the mansion by herself. Like, she has people that work there still. She's got like a gardener, and like a woman named Mrs. Baker lives there as well. Is like always there. Okay, hello. Sorry, the quality is not that good. I'm filming with my front camera right now so I can see what I'm doing. I've been trying to get through as much as I can with The Only One Left by Riley Sager, and I've been reading it on my Kindle. By the way, this is my new Kindle case. It's just little mouses. I am on chapter 6, page 52, 14% through. As of right now, without like giving much away, the author keeps like the author keeps making the main character look really suspicious, because like, I feel like I'm not spoiling much, but you learn early on that Kit had been a caregiver to a patient, and something happened to the patient, and everyone's kind of blaming her for said incident that happened to the patient. So basically Kit's like, you know, like it was an accident and blah blah blah. And then at that point in the book, when you're reading about like her explanation with the patient, she's like saying all these things, and you're like, oh, I believe what she's saying, right? Like, oh, it was an accident, blah blah. And then Kit will go back and be like, that's not the only thing I lied to her about, like, not just the patient. And I'm like, so are you evil or are you not? I can't tell. But so far, there's not really anything, like, crazy happening. It's just kind of Kit coming in and getting introduced to Lenora. And Mrs. Baker is, like, the housekeeper, and she's kind of showing her around, giving her the lowdown of the place and all the rules and stuff. And I feel like it's kind of, like, obvious already, but I don't trust her. I don't trust Mrs. Baker, but I don't like suspect her of anything yet, because that would be like so quick that would be just an obvious guess. So I want to assume that she's like not the evil one here, which I don't know. I just really hope it's not like the House Across the Lake. Ew. This is kind of creepy. At one point, Lenora's gaze leaves the window and drifts my way, a sidelong glance she doesn't want me to notice. When I do, her eyes snap back toward the window. Kit just said, so what does Miss Hope do for fun? And Miss Baker's like, fun? She's like, Miss Hope doesn't have fun. She rests. We're looking at Miss Baker like she's the bad guy right now. So we're kind of pinning it on her right now, so... Okay, excuse the way I look, because I put a bunch of like lotion and stuff on my face because my face is breaking out. You can't tell, but I swear it is. On chapter 25, page 205, 53% in. There's been two things happen that I wasn't really expecting. So there was a character that had been mentioned a few times, and I knew that this character was going to come back up later. They did come back up later, but not in the way that I was expecting. So I was kind of like intrigued about that. But I will say, so far, I do feel more intrigued by this book than The House Across the Lake. Because, I don't know, I mean, I've just been excited to pull it back up and read it, because I'm like, okay, I want to know what's going on. I want to figure things out. I'm just really hoping there's not going to be the same type of thing that's going to happen like in The House Across the Lake. I don't know if you guys have read it, but if you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. I won't like spoil it or anything. At the moment, I wouldn't say I feel like there is boring parts. Like I feel like things kind of have been flowing pretty well. And I don't feel like super bored yet, but that really could change because I'm only like 53% through. What? Oh my, whoa, there was like a plot twist. Okay, I was not expecting that. Wait, that's weird. I just got to a part in this book where I'm like, what? Wait. Oh. We're getting a lot of info dumping, but I still want to know who the culprit is. Okay, I'd like to report two things. Well, three. I'd like to report three things. First, I finished the book. Second, I was recording and my phone ran out of storage, and I didn't know it because I was using the back camera. And third, I did tear up a little bit. Like, at the end, I teared up in this eye. Like, it wasn't like sad. It was like, I just love old people, okay? That's like I just love old people. That was so much better than The House Across the Lake, I will say. It's been a couple days since I've finished The Only One Left by Riley Sager, and I'm really mad because I recorded so much of my reactions to the end. I got a few pieces, which is fine or whatever, but I didn't get the end. I like this so much better than The House Across the Lake. And I like the atmosphere because they say that this story, like this house, this mansion is on like top of a cliff overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, and there's like a lot of property around it. So it kind of gives off this spooky / gothic vibe, and I guess it's technically a gothic thriller, but there wasn't really a lot of like, it wasn't like a constant thriller. Like I feel like it was closer to like a mystery, but there definitely was parts in the book that I felt like really like I had to kind of keep my lamp on because it was like pitch black when I was reading the book, and I was like, ooh, it's kind of scary, so I'm gonna turn on my lamp. So it was a little creepy, and I liked it so much better than The House Across the Lake. Like, it's crazy. If you have not read The Only One Left by Riley Sager, please skip towards like somewhere. I'll put another timestamp somewhere. First thing I want to say, we learn that Lenora is really Virginia and Miss Baker is really Lenora, which was crazy to me. The part where Kit kind of explains that in the book, it was really like random when she said it in the beginning of the chapter, but when she said, yes, Lenora, I say, Virginia is fine, that gave me actual goosebumps. And I do want to point out that when they are talking about, when Kit's asking Lenora, which she thinks this is Lenora, she's asking Lenora, who is like walking in your room at night, because I keep hearing like creaking sounds and stuff, and Lenora types on the typewriter, Virginia. So you mean to tell me she was literally talking about herself? Because I didn't even realize that until I was explaining this book to my boyfriend. I was like, wait, she wasn't lying. Because again, we figure out at the end of the book that Virginia, Virginia, who everyone thinks is Lenora, she is paralyzed, and then she's like, oh, I could walk this whole time. Here's some tickets to Paris. Huh? How can you, honestly, the book would have been a lot better if it just ended with Kit and like Lenora at Kit's house It would have been a lot better that way. But I don't know why he had to throw in the, oh, I could walk the whole time. That doesn't make sense to me. But it shook me when I was reading it. It really did. But also, you think about that, but like, why? Why did she want, how would anyone be able to do that for 50 years? Like 50 years? And you're taking all these medications and all these like different things that could have effects to your body. She should have been dead already. Because if you're taking all those medications for things you don't even have, that can't be a good thing, right? When she said like the urn is completely empty, like she looked in the urn to see if like Virginia's ashes were in there. That was crazy too. I was like, oh no. Anyway, I mean, there were things that I liked about the book for sure. I thought it was a really good book. And like, it was interesting to learn about all those different things. But I just, there's parts of it that were kind of like a stretch. Like that you really reached for that and grabbed it and snuck it in the book and just didn't make sense. I don't know where I was going with that, but it just didn't make sense. Anyway, Two Lives of Lydia Bird, that's what I'm about to read right now. I haven't started it yet, but I am excited. But honestly, after reading that thriller, I like want to read another thriller. I'm gonna get started reading our next book, and I hope I'm as impressed as I was with The Only One Left. I think what it said was she is in love with a guy named Freddie, and then Freddie dies in like an accident, and then she's upset about it, but she finds new love, and then she realizes that she has a chance to like choose or something. That's it. Anyway, I'm gonna get started on the Two Lives of Lydia Bird, and I will give you guys an update tomorrow. Okay, good night. Can we tell that this is a new phone? I wanted to give an update on the Two Lives of Lydia Bird. I got to page 52, and it says I'm like 14% through the book. What's going on is that her fiance died in a car accident. So she's like really depressed right now, but when she's like asleep, she sees him, and it's kind of like life is still going by as if he's alive while she's sleeping. But when she's awake, she's obviously living life without him. So she has like these two different worlds in a sense, and the chapters aren't really labeled. It's just like asleep, then awake, and then asleep, then awake. I don't think I love it right now, and it almost feels like a lot of blah blah, because it's like, okay, we get it, blah blah, what's gonna happen? It's just, it feels like a lot of descriptions of things, but not enough story, like dialogue, if that makes sense. Like, I'm only on page 50, but it just kind of feels like I'm reading the same thing over and over and over again. Like, I'm getting kind of bored, and that's like bad because I'm only on page 52. So yeah, I literally had to use an audiobook to finish the Two Lives of Lydia Bird because it was boring. Like, I thought it was gonna be, and maybe this is my bad, I thought it was gonna be more like there's gonna be more romance in it, but it dealt a lot about her grief with her, her dead fiance Freddie, and about him, and like her grief going through that, and just her life through that. So I guess it was like more of like a literary fiction more than like any like a romance. It's just like a story. In the ending, without giving away, it's like we finally got somewhere, right? We're finally getting there, book ends. And I was like, that's it? I don't know why this is like what happened at the end of the last book I read of hers, One Day in December. The characters finally talk or do something or whatever, ends. And I don't know, I guess I just wanted more of like an explanation of the other person's feelings and Lydia's feelings and like them coming together. And it just kind of felt like that there wasn't a lot of stuff being told to like the readers of how her relationship with Jonah was like, because they were like friends and they're still talking, but the author would say like, well, it would say that Lydia would like, oh, I call Jonah every day, we text all the time, and it's like, well, what about? Because with that ending, it kind of seemed like it ended very abruptly, and I just didn't like that. But yeah, I'll get to ratings towards like the end because I need to think on it for a couple of days, I think. But in the meantime, I've been kind of listening, like, I don't know how my brain can do this. I'm terrible at multitasking, but I can like read 4 books at once. I was reading Mile High, Seven Husbands, and To the Two Lives of Lydia Bird at once. So I do want to tell you that I did start The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo on my Spotify thing. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And okay, I do want to say though, look up trigger warnings for The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I don't know if are they listed? I'm gonna see if they're listed. No, I don't think there is. Dude, you cannot. So this book wasn't really what I like expected it to be when I was first listening to. Definitely look up trigger warnings because there is something mentioned fairly early that I was like, whoa. So make sure you look up trigger warnings for this book just in case. We're following a journalist named Monique, and she goes into work. Her boss tells her that the infamous Evelyn Hugo wants Monique to interview her. And for some reason, Evelyn Hugo is requesting Monique, but Monique claims that she like has no personal connection to Evelyn Hugo because Evelyn Hugo is like, think of Marilyn Monroe. Like, she is one of the most like famous actresses. So like she also has had 7 husbands. So that also makes her like super infamous and well known, as well as like her acting career. So she asks Monique to interview her, and Monique is like, why? When Monique gets to the place where she's going to be meeting Evelyn Hugo, Evelyn's like, I want you to write my life story. Like, I'm going to give you my whole life story, and I want you to write it for me. And Monique's like, but like, why me? And I still don't know why it's her. But I do want to know, like, why does she want Monique to write it? Because as far as I know so far, Monique literally does not know Evelyn, like, at all. It's just super interesting so far. It's definitely not like what I expected. And I'm enjoying listening to it on the audiobook. I'm at chapter 8. I'm at chapter 8. I may continue listening to the audiobook of it, but I do want to try to read the physical copy at least a little bit because I bought it. So anyway, I did want to kind of give an update on The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Oh, I'm not even halfway yet, but I am at the section Gullible Mick Riva. This book is more interesting than I initially thought it was going to be. I need a bookmark for this. I'll use this. It's just literally a piece of my package. I'm liking Seven Husbands more than I thought I would, honestly. So without like giving away a lot of like detail, we did figure out who Evelyn was in love with, and I was kind of suspecting this. We still don't know why like she chose Monique to do this project or whatever, but a lot of things were kind of like unveiled, and it has been very interesting just following the story of Evelyn and how she like rose to fame and all that stuff. And then there's like good representation in this book as well. The author, Taylor Jenkins Reid, she does really good at this kind of story. And I definitely think that this is like, whoa. I definitely think this kind of story, like a literary fiction, is definitely her like strong spot. And I like the way the story is told, kind of going back and forth into past and present, because when Evelyn starts to tell her story, we get actually into her story. Kind of giving like this past and present kind of thing, where once Monique is like, okay, I'm ready, tell your story, start the recording, this chapter ends, and then we immediately go into the past, and then Evelyn is like saying everything that's going on. I will give updates. And yeah, that's it. Okay, goodbye. So I've been listening to the audiobook of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I am about to finish the book. I did not want to listen to the rest of it because I wanted to have my reaction for the ending. So as of right now, she's pretty much told her story, and she's had a very tough life. Definitely more happened than I would have ever expected, honestly. There was a sad thing that happened. Now, Evelyn keeps saying, I'm not a good person, blah, blah, blah. And then she keeps saying, you'll figure out why, you'll have all your answers at the end. And I'm like, what is she even talking about? So I wanted to get the rest of the book on camera. So I'm about to finish this chapter. Wait. Huh? Wait, what? Oh, that's terrible. That's really bad. That's actually crazy. I feel sad for some reason. Oh my god, the ending is like you're about to start over. I don't know if that makes any sense. Okay. Let me get my bearings and I will do a full recap on all the books I just read. Okay. Let's talk about the books that I read in this video. To be honest, this video has been going for a long time. I finally got to the end of it, so I have my ratings and everything, I think. Okay, so the first book I read in this video was The Only One Left by Riley Sager. And I read this book because I did not like The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I decided to give The Only One Left by Riley Sager a 4.5 star. And I know that sounds crazy because of the ending of it. The ending was kind of outlandish, and it was. Okay, the ending was probably why I wouldn't give it a 5 star. Just that one part at the end, it would have probably been a 5-star read because I liked the vibe of the whole book, and I liked the Gothic Victorian vibe. I like that it was taking place in a Gothic mansion overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, and I liked how it was literally about to fall apart and fall into the sea. I thought that was interesting. The way the book had me questioning everything and I just had to keep going. I loved that so much. And because I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager, I really just wanted to read more thrillers. I really just wanted to read more. And I feel like that makes it deserve a 4.5 star. I'm honestly kind of surprised. I really wasn't expecting to like this book as much as I did. So I am very happy. And that makes me think that I can read more Riley Sager books. Next book I started was The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver. I got 13% through reading the book and I had to finish it on audio because I could not foresee myself still reading it because to me it just got a little boring and things just felt repetitive in the sense that she would wake up, she'd go to bed and be with her fiance. Hey, not my wafers. It is sad, and the thought of losing your fiance is scary. That actually scares me because I couldn't imagine. I understand that she did go through grief. I understand that, and that's normal, and that's fine. But I just didn't expect that to be... I guess I knew it was going to be prevalent through the course of the book, but I thought there was going to be more to it than just that, because that was about all it was about until the last maybe 10% of the book, because there's something revealed. It's very random. The romance was random and I didn't feel like it was built up at all. I guess you could argue that maybe there was some things here and there that made it seem like romance was building up to, but to me it didn't. It was not building up. It was just a random one-off, one thing that was said between the characters, and then it's just almost an awkward romantic encounter. And it kind of, in that sense, it does remind me a little bit of One Day in December. It's just kind of awkward. So I just think that for me, maybe Josie Silver's not for me. I'm going to give The Two Lives of Lydia Bird like a 2.5. And the last book that I read was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Everyone and their mother has read this book, okay? Like everybody. So that's why I was also really nervous to start this book, because I know this is a literary fiction and I'm not really a literary fiction person. I did listen to the majority of this book on audio, and in a way I feel like I kind of cheated with the audio, but audiobooks is still reading. It's fine. But that's why I didn't show myself reading this book that much, because I listened to it mostly on audio, which is really, really good, by the way. This book was a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. There were some things that I could see coming, for example, who she loved and things like that. And there is a lot of good representation in this book, and it was very intriguing, and it was really interesting learning the story of Evelyn Hugo and why she chose Monique Grant to do her biography. The ending, the plot twist, I didn't see that coming at all. Like, there had to be some sort of correlation of why she would choose Monique to do it. Like, I didn't think that, she just thinks she's a good reporter. I figured there was something that had to be the reason why that Evelyn chose Monique to do it, and the reason why I did not see that coming at all. Like, I was very shocked. I didn't really think of that as like a thing that would happen, but that was very, very surprising to me. Yeah, I felt bad for her towards the end, but it's something she chose, so it's fine. But I felt bad still, and it made me a little emotional in that sense, because I love old people so much. So as for the rating of this book, I'm sure you're all curious. I did like it, but I didn't feel as much of a pull to it as I did The Only One Left by Riley Sager. So at that point, I'm going to give this a 4. It was good. I'll recommend it to people, and a 4 is still a really good rating, but I'm just not like die hard for The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, if that makes sense. Also, I want to say that, like, I thought that nobody else did this, like giving authors I didn't like another chance. There's a lot of people that make videos like this. I'm acting like that it was my idea. It was not. Like, a lot of people have done this idea, and I literally, thought I made it up. And I was like, wow, I'm gonna do something. But I didn't do anything. So that is the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!